you're constantly comparing yourself, right? And so now, being an entrepreneur, I don't compare myself to you or anybody else. If I have a Lamborghini STO and this guy has 10, like, I stay in my lane.
Yeah.
And that was the start of that, like, not comparing yourself anymore, because once I realized that, look, God put me here and I'm playing my position, I'm doing as best as I can, and I'm going to give it my all, but I'm no longer competing with the rest of the running backs in the country to see, like, who the Cowboys are going to pick
number
up.
one?
You know,
Who's
like,
top 10?
That's done.
Yeah.
It was a sense of relief. Like, you know what? Let's make this game fun again.
You're going into some really tough situations. You know, child abuse, molestation, all these things. Like, psychologically, like, you know, what is that experience?
You know, chasing material things.
Yeah.
Like, you get a Lambo and it's like, all right, I got it. On to the next. So you're constantly fighting these urges and these material things and chasing, but it's no fulfillment in it.
Yeah. What's up? Bam. Yo, what is up, everybody? This is the End-to-End Podcast, and I am your host, Dr. Yun Win, as my friends affectionately call me the Ninja or Prolific Ninja, because my friends, you can call me Ninja too. This is the End-to-End Podcast, the Alpha to the Omega, the beginning to the end, talking about life, motivation, self-improvement, drive, success, and offering you morsels in this all-you-can-eat buffet called life. Back in the studio today, beautiful, lovely weather, except for the chemtrails. And if you know about me, you know what those chemtrails mean. We're going to get raining pretty soon. But we're back in the studio. Glad to be back. Holiday season. We're 2 weeks out. Hoping everybody is having a safe and fun holiday season. You know, most people slow down during the holiday season, but for me, I like to ramp it up because I want to go into the new year on a full sprint instead of at a dry start. But we're back in the studio, and before we get into it, for those of you new or have listened for a while, I always start my episode as start my day, and that is with an expression of gratitude. I wake up every morning thanking God, the universe, for another day, another opportunity to be great and influence other people's lives. And so I want to thank you all, my listeners who have liked, followed, shared, subscribed, just spreading the word about the End-to-End Podcast and helping to achieve our mission, which is to inspire billions of lives in a positive way across this planet. And to that, if you're new to the show or have been listening, you know that I do this on my own dime, on my own time. So I don't have any sponsors, no advertisers, spend a lot of money. My crew spends a lot of time getting these episodes out to y'all. So the only way we can grow is if you share the show, and that is on a value exchange. So I like to say, if your knowledge swole, share the show. That is how we grow. We have a variety of episodes. We have usually just me doing a monologue, 10, 15 minutes about success, motivation, things that hopefully inspire or enhance your lives. We also do prolific Q&A and prolific POV, point of view, on current events. That's now with my co-host, my producer, Arib Mirza. And then finally, I do episodes where I have a longer episode bringing in somebody very successful, very entrepreneurial, where hopefully through their story, you can learn a few pearls that you can apply to your story to inspire and be successful. And with that, today is one of those very special episodes where I have a guest host and a guest on the show. And I have stated in the past that through the paths of success, as you level up, your circle changes, right? Your circle changes from who you're hanging out with to more in tune with people that share your newer values about success. And each time you level up, sometimes you keep the same crew going up, but then you find new people. And this special guest I have today is a dear friend that I've met recently, but it was through my leveling up. And, you know, I drive a supercar, and through a supercar group, you meet a lot of people that are also equally, or if not more so successful. But at the same time, you all share the same values about success, friendship, life, all just a variety of things. And with that, I want to welcome to the show my good friend Roderick Batson. Good to have you, man. Thank you for coming to the show. Yeah. I met Rod through the car group. This man drives one of the baddest black and gold Lambo STOs, V10. About to put some turbos to make it even faster.
It's a must, man.
But I met Rod through the car group. He has a Lambo. He's driven multiple cars, supercars in the past. Rolls-Royce Ghost, lovely family. In fact, his wife is the wife of Nate, my son's basketball Coach's sister.
Yes, correct.
That's kinda, yeah, okay.
That's the Matt is my brother-in-law.
That's
sure.
right. That's right. Coach Brayton. Shout out Coach Brayton Taylor,
Yeah.
Taylor High School Mustangs. But it's not what the cars that he drives that makes Rod such a good guy. He is heavily involved in the community. He's a serial entrepreneur, very successful businesses, which we'll get into. But it's just him as a person, him as a family man. I've seen him around at these car shows, and it's always family first, doing the right thing. So glad to know you, man. Glad to meet you.
Appreciate it, man.
To kick it off before we get into your story, man, what's it like driving that bad boy STO, man?
It's fun, man.
Come on,
it's
man.
Fun,
Let the
man.
people know.
It's fun. The car is light. It's light. So to go from an Aventador, that's a V12.
V12 Lambo, yeah.
1,000 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
To this STO, it's night and day, man.
Okay.
It's a real daily driver, and it's light, fun. It's like a go-kart. So I love it.
It looks badass. So if you're in the Houston area around, you see a black and gold Lambo STO, loud.
It's loud.
It's likely Rod. It's likely
loud.
Rod. That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing and thanks for being here
Definitely.
again. So get into your story, bro. Like, where did you grow up? How did you all get started?
Yeah. So I'll back up. I actually went to May Creek High School in the Katy area, and so at May Creek High School it was fun. I was heavy into sports. I was always in the popular crowd, and with that some trials and tribulations came. I ended up going to alternative school my senior year, and I missed out on playing sports my whole senior year, so I lost a lot of scholarships. I had scholarships to TCU, Florida State, Sam Houston State, so many big universities, but because of my choices, I ended up spending my senior year in alternative school after getting out of jail, and so I kind of used that as a opportunity to really just change my mindset and change the way I looked at how I was moving at that time at 17 years old, and so I ended up going on to school to play football at Texas Lutheran University. It was a smaller university, but it was the best thing that happened to me because I needed that guidance. I needed that just step back, that smaller class feel, that smaller, environment to really mature and learn things such as studying and time management and being a leader instead of a follower. And so during those 4 years, I played sports, and it was a great time, but I really took those 4 years to find myself and to really just recreate who Rod is. And so I graduated, and I went into Child Protective Services as an investigator.
Okay.
And I think that mission, just working that job really instilled some things in me that has led me to where I'm at today. It was so honoring and just amazing to go into these homes and help kids that were, abused and neglected, and to feel empowered knowing that you're helping somebody else. And so just serving essentially is what I went home every day feeling like I was making an impact in this world. Yeah. And so
hold up on that. I mean that's an amazing story that you jumped over a lot of good things, man. And we're going to get to that, but let's unpack that a little bit because you touched upon a very important point, and I don't know if you get into it as much as you want to, but that high school event where you went to an alternative school, can you dig into details a little bit?
Yeah.
Because I think knowing where you are today and knowing that history, that can help a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That you can always improve and turn your life around. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's basically living for the world and not for your purpose. In high school, it's so easy to get caught up in the crowd, and it was a senior prank essentially where we had to TP to school, and we took it a step further. Some people spray painted the school, so it was a vandalism charge that they pinned us on. But being a popular individual, they wanted to make an example out of the ones that were popular because that's how you set a message, right? If you can send a message to like some of the star football players in the Katy ISD district, it'll really send a shockwave that like nobody's off limits. Yeah. So me and another guy by the name of Aaron Brown were two of the ones that got arrested for that. Aaron went on to play at TCU and went on to play for the Detroit Lions. Okay. Me and him were the two star football players in the Katy district at that time, 2005. But again, it was just a high school prank that went wrong, that went left, and we took the fall for the entire class, and so
it's just you two got singled out.
4 people out of 60 people got singled out. Yeah.
Now, you're not young.
Yeah.
I don't know how mature you were, but what was the mental process? Put yourself back in that time, not looking back, but like in that moment, what are you thinking? Like, what are you feeling?
Yeah, that's where I feel like I built my grit and grind, because you got to understand, I started playing ball at 5 years old through KYF football, and I was always a star athlete. And so to have these dreams of going big and playing on TV in college, and to get that stripped away or taken away from you because of choices that you made, it's a lot. It's definitely deflating, but I use that as a moment to really build perseverance and to really say, you know, one, I'm in control of my actions and my choices, and I'm never going to let this happen again, because one choice can wipe away years and years and years of hard work, which it did. Yeah. And so that was the start of my journey of just persevering and building that walking my purpose type character. And
so that's a very mature perspective, putting yourself back at 16, 17 years old. Did you have two questions on that? Did you have support around you to help in that thought process?
Yeah.
And then secondly is this follow-up question would be, what role did being sports and all that hard work, what role did that have in your mentality or the thought process through it? So support in sports.
Yeah, so the support, my parents were always very supportive. They never missed a game. They were always hard on me. My mom was a school teacher, so she was very strict on the grades and stuff. But as you know, when you're in high school, you don't care, man. You're gonna do what you want to do, essentially, right? And so especially when you're a star athlete, you kind of feel like you're above rules and the law, and so that's a misconception, because nobody's bigger than the program, right? And so I've always had the support, so it wasn't a lack of like guidance or parental oversight. It was basically just being a high school kid doing what he thought was cool. But on a bigger scale, going to alternative school, when you're in alternative school, you can't do anything on the campus. You can't go to football games, basketball games, nothing district related. So that was tough, to know that like the team had put trust in me and Aaron to take Mady Creek as far as it could go, and there was a big hype around our team that year. We were supposed to, we were supposed to go far for the first time in a long time, because we were, well sought after athletes that were gonna go play college ball. And so to let that team down, let the coaches down that really believed in us and put together summer programs to help us get faster and stronger, so many things, it's kind of it's deflating to know like that all these people that put hope and faith in you kind of let them down because of dumb decisions. So that was a hard thing to kind of get over. And that's why now, not to jump too far, but that's why now, like every chance I get, I try to give back. I try to help out the different schools and football program at Mady Creek and stuff like that.
And then the idea of all the discipline you put in as a youth athlete and helping you digest this crazy circumstance, like what role did that play?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like all the hard work I put in helped me to get over it faster than a lot of people that may have used that opportunity to like say, F it, I'm out. Like I'm done. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to play anything. I just want to turn to the streets, whatever.
Yeah.
So me, I knew I could bounce back. I knew, all right, this is a setback, but my comeback could be better than my setback.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening now, you know why I like Rod so much, man. He's kind of cut out the same cloth. But thinking back though, I as an outsider looking in, I see that as a huge blessing that it happened.
Oh, it was the biggest blessing, man. Sometimes God has to like strip you of it to show you like what's really important. And so living for people and living for material things and stuff that's why I don't do that now. Because I saw what that looked like back then. And I saw how easy you can lose it all, and none of that matters. When you're rock bottom, your parents, your family, your true circle of friends is really all you got. That fame and stuff gets stripped, and so the accolades get stripped. So all that stuff can get stripped like this. And so in the dark times when the real stars shine, and so I really took light to that.
I love that, man. In the dark times is when the real stars shine.
So
man.
when it got dark,
you come up with that yourself, man, or what? That's good, dude. That's gold.
In
the dark times is when the real stars shine. I love that.
Yeah, I had to make that happen. I said, all right, like game on now.
Game on.
So
that's a 16, 17 years old, man. Huge. Yeah. So had that not happened, let's pretend, and you go to like Miami or Florida or something like that, some big city where you can just party and get into a lot of trouble.
I think I wasn't ready. I think that would have been a huge downfall for me. because just maturity-wise,
Yeah.
right? I don't think maturity-wise I was ready. My study habits weren't there. My time management wasn't there. I love being in the in crowd, and the in crowd is sometimes
the wrong
demise,
crowd,
right?
yeah.
And so I think mature-wise, I wasn't ready for that. And God can see what we can, and so I think He scaled me back for the bigger cause, because where I'm at now is further than I would have ever been if I would have went and played at a bigger school.
Yeah, yeah. Now you mentioned God and a lot in just in our brief few minutes here. Did you grow up in a very spiritual or religious
I did,
faith?
yeah.
Okay.
We went to church every week.
Sunday.
Yeah, every
Okay,
Sunday
good,
we was
good,
there.
man, good.
Yes, sir.
And how was that in terms of this situation, and then how have you carried that through your life?
Yeah, I mean, that's where I found my strength. That's where I found my strength and my hope and everything else, because I knew, like, He brought me this far. He's not going to forsake me now, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes He just has to make you run around that track one more time to teach you that lesson, because the truth is, I got away with a lot of things before my senior year that led me up to doing what I did my senior year. You know what I mean? And so it came at the right time, and like anything, you have to pay for what you do in this life.
Humbleness is a tough lesson.
Yes, and it comes when you least expect it.
Exactly.
So I'm glad I went through that. I'm thankful I wouldn't have redid it to save my life, because it saved my life. So I feel like I love what I went through.
That's awesome. In the darkness is where the real stars shine.
Yes,
man.
sir. Yes,
Love
sir.
it, love it. You go to Texas Lutheran, play ball. It's not the big
Correct.
conference type school that you would expected.
Yeah.
But you gutted it out. Like, what was the mentality now? You have this expectation of D1 major school, and now you're at I don't know if it's D1 or not.
Yeah. No, and
school.
to be honest, my love for sports kind of died, because it was a struggle to see some of your childhood friends that you played in front of now get to play on TV, right? And you're on a smaller school, smaller scale. So that was a constant struggle, but I'm not an envious and jealous type person. It was just a situation where I was like down on myself a lot. Like, man, I know I could be playing somewhere bigger. But again, God had a bigger purpose and calling for my life too. So I always had to just sit back and think, like, okay, what is that?
So you bring up a very good point. Now, retrospectively, you can say God had a bigger plan for you, but at that moment,
in the moment, I did not see that.
You did not see that.
Nah.
So how?
In that moment, I felt like I was being punished,
Yeah.
And that made it hard to play, because, to be honest, football came easy to me at that school. My freshman year, I started, and it was like, this is not a challenge, and so I just felt like,
So how do you could talk to that? Because there might be people listening going through hard times. They can't see the bigger picture, or what. A lot of people's like, why is this happening to me? So how do you put one foot in front of the other and just keep grinding? Like, what is that?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way to put it is like you're one day away from hitting that goal. You never know what can happen tomorrow, right? If you just keep faith and keep hope, you never know when that calling, when that answer to your prayers may get answered. But if you give up,
it's never gonna happen.
Exactly, never. I love that Steve Harvey, he had like a 1 minute type whatever it was, where he talked about jumping, right? He said, entrepreneurship is like jumping off a cliff with a parachute. Right when you jump, it's a scary feeling, and you're not ever going to soar into that parachute, deploys. But at the end of the day, once the parachute deploys, it's a smooth sailing down. But if you stay on that cliff and never jump, you know for sure that you're never going to soar. And so with me, I just feel like just keep going. All of us, everybody watching, including you and me, are 100 for 100 with overcoming obstacles. That's why we're still here, right?
Yeah.
And it's because we just wake up the next day and keep going. God figures it out for us. And so I kind of knew that because of my faith, and I just kept at it, man.
Kept going. So man, I'm trying to. That's a great explanation, but I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes, and that's kind of my job as a lawyer also. Is you're sitting there, and I know practices 2-a-days, Texas heat. You're going through all that, watching lesser players getting more shine than you.
Yeah, that's tough.
And so
that's tough. Mentally, it's a tough thing. But my sophomore year is when I kind of took that turn, and the conversations changed. Everybody I talked to from back home that played sports and at TLU had dreams of going to the NFL. Nobody is really thinking about what we're going to do after college in regards to a career. And even the guys that go to the NFL, the life expectancy is like 3 years.
3 years,
right?
yeah.
So I started to think about what was my life going to be after school. What am I going to do when I get out of TLU? I'm not going to the NFL. What am I going to do now, right? And so I think I got a jump on a lot of people because I faced realization sooner than the average college athlete.
Okay.
I had fun during those 4 years, gave it my all, but I knew that there was something after this.
Yeah.
And so my perspective changed a little bit, and I started to think about who did I want to be when I graduated from this 4-year university.
So real quick on that, you grow up since 5 years old playing football, dreams of NFL. That moment where you realize, man, I'm not gonna play the NFL. What was that like? Like, because you've carried this thought.
To me, it was a relief because it's pressure in that, man. It's pressure in that, man. If I'm being honest, it's pressure in that because you're constantly comparing yourself, right? And so now, being an entrepreneur, I don't compare myself to you or anybody else. If I have a Lamborghini STO and this guy has 10, like, I stay in my lane. And that was the start of that, like not comparing yourself anymore, because once I realized that, look, God put me here and I'm playing my position, I'm doing as best as I can, and I'm going to give it my all, but I'm no longer competing with the rest of the running backs in the country to see, like, who the Cowboys are going to pick up.
Who's number one?
You know,
who's
like,
top 10?
That's done.
Yeah.
It was a sense of relief. Like, you know what? Let's make this game fun again. Because in college, it's business. And it's a big business. And that can strip the fun from it, right?
Yeah.
And so I actually, to me, it took the pressure off of me,
Yeah,
man.
you
It
could
allowed
be
me to
more
go back
you.
to
You
having
can
fun.
find you, yeah.
And it is what it is, you know? I'm going to give it my all, and that's that. Because I know I have 2 more years of this, right?
Yeah.
So
I attune it to, and I like your point, is that the competition goes away, but the examples are still there. Like, I want to, I'm not competing against, let's say, Elon Musk, but he's an example of what's achievable, right?
Exactly.
So if I keep grinding, I can head in that direction, but I'm not competing against him.
You know, I focus more on the grades too, because, like, as an athlete, you focus on grades in the respect of I have to pass to play. You don't focus on the grades. Well, not there's some that do, but a lot don't. You don't focus on grades as like, man, I need to be an all-A student because this is how I'm gonna get to college, right? Because you know you have a scholarship to go play ball, and in college it's like I'm gonna take a major that's not that strenuous when it comes to work, because I need to practice. I need to do 2-a-days in weight room and film, so I can't take 16, 18 hours per semester. And so what happened to me is, like, I started to think more about like grades, which I can control, than sports, because you could be the baddest running back in the nation to you and your mom, but scouts may not see it like that.
Yeah.
But if I go to class every day and I try my hardest and I get in the books and study and whatever may have you, I control what grade I get. I control my destiny. I can control what I want to do in life. And so
100%.
Once I figured that out, I was like, that's a safer bet anyway. You know, to be in control of where I'm going to go.
In your direction of your own life versus somebody else's subjective opinion.
Correct.
And the numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
Your GPA is your GPA,
yeah,
right?
It is, and you're in 100% control of that.
That's awesome, man. So all you students out there listening, man, focus on the grades, focus on the books. That'll take you a lot farther than your talents will.
Correct.
Because speed and agility, they fade.
They fade, man. And that even though whether you're ahead of the competition or not, the competition catches up eventually.
Yeah.
And then
whether through age, through youth, or you wind it down.
That playing field levels.
Love it, man. Love it. A lot of pearls here, man. So going into CPS, was that something you decided to do or just kind of happened?
Yeah, so my uncle Stephen Bullitt is the supervisor for the United States Secret Service, Dallas field offices.
Okay.
And
that's good to know, man. If I ever need if I need to research somebody, I'll call you.
Yeah, man. Great guy. At that time, he was in D.C. on various assignments with the presidents and stuff. And so he played ball at Texas A&M, went on to play for the Oakland Raiders. And so I wanted to be like him. I loved his journey. I loved
He was your model.
Yeah, I loved his character, what he stood for. I mean, honorable guy. And so
doesn't surprise me.
He told me, look, you need some experience. You need some experience in the work world. So you need to get into some type of law enforcement, sector, so that when you're 25, because they won't hire anybody before the age of 25.
Because you're looking to go into the CIA?
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
I wanted to go into it. So
like Jason Bourne kind of stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I went to CPS. I actually applied for United States Secret Service. I actually made it through all 8 of the interview phases, physical, panel interview, polygraph tests, everything. But I was 24 years old, and they don't hire until you're 25. And so, and that's another God thing, because at that time I was let down again. Like, man, I keep on getting to the finish line, and it's not
get cut short.
It's getting cut short. Like, I'm not understanding this, right? And again, things just happen for a reason. A year later, working for CPS, I kind of got burnt out with CPS because working for the state is a challenge. It's an amazing job. You're saving lives. The pay is tough. And so when you want more out of life and that paycheck comes and it's just tight, that makes it hard. And like most jobs, the good investigators or the good workers get dumped on because the turnover is high. And so you being a good investigator and you taking on the serious cases, they lean on you.
Yeah.
The pay doesn't increase. Whether you take 12 cases and your colleague takes 3, y'all are making the same amount, right?
Same pay scale.
And so I'm working 10 times harder because I'm taking on the serious cases, child trauma, serious child deaths, and so forth. And it's exhausting, but it's rewarding. So I started to look for something else to do, and that's where the medical career came.
Okay.
And it was a beautiful thing.
Before we get into that, a couple questions on your CPS experience. Hold up, y'all. You need to get that?
No.
Okay. Back on camera. So before we get into the medical stuff with your experience at CPS, you point out a very good thing, which is nothing wrong with government work, nothing wrong with corporate work.
No, I love it.
But you're usually tiered at a pay scale regardless of how hard you work.
Correct. Yes.
And so if you know you got that entrepreneurship or you want more out of life, it's tough.
It's tough.
Right?
That's a tough thing.
Yeah. And now, secondly, is what impact did it have where you're going into some really tough situations? Child abuse, molestation, all these things. Like psychologically, what is that experience? Like?
I'm thankful I didn't have kids at that time, because I was able to disconnect and not take the job home with me. What I heard from a lot of colleagues was it's tough to go home and look at your kids because you're like, dang, what if somebody's doing that to my child? Right?
Yeah.
So I'm thankful that during my stint at CPS, I didn't have kids. So I was head first. I'd take on anything because I was able to disconnect.
Just
when
do
I went
your
home,
job. It's just doing my job.
Did my job to the best of my ability. And so it was trying at times because the system has its flaws, like every system. It's hard to remove a child from parents that were abusing and neglecting the kid, and that parent know the system, know how to play the system, know how to go to classes and act as if they're changed. Then to get that child back 6 months later just to re-abuse them. That's what made it hard for me, because you promise these kids hey, I'm removing you from this situation. You'll never have to go back into an environment like that, just to see them 6 months later being on your docket again. It's
that's sad.
Yeah. So that was the more defeating part to me.
But did that open your eyes up to a purpose bigger than Rod?
Yes, and that's what led me to where I'm at now. I vowed to always go back and help the voiceless if God allowed me to. So I think God always saw my heart, and that's why he steered my steps, because now that I have a lot, I give it back to the populations that I once wanted to help but couldn't help because I just didn't have the means to. And I would scratch my head man, there has to be something more that we can do for these individuals that didn't ask for what they're going through.
That's crazy. And at what age did you leave CPS and sort of go into your entrepreneurship journey?
26 years old.
26 years old. So you decided to leave CPS.
Yeah, and got into the medical field as a medical sales rep.
Okay.
So my wife was nannying for a spine surgeon in San Antonio, Texas. And I was working for Child Protective Services at that time. And his medical sales rep quit, just up and quit. And he was like, man, I'm sick of going through reps, right? Because every time I get a new rep, I have to train them and then I have to rely on them, because that rep brings everything to the operation room that they need for surgery. And so it's really hard to have to restart again, because patient care is at the forefront of everything, right? So you don't want that type of turnover.
And training is expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive. So he was venting about that. And then she was like, oh, I bet you Rob would be interested. Even though he doesn't have any medical background, he's a loyal dude.
Yeah.
And it sounds like what you want is just loyalty, because you could teach somebody anything.
Yeah.
You can't teach them loyalty. So he was like, I would like to meet him. So I drove, I drove and met the guy. And it was a lot, going into a hospital for the first time in an operation room and all the acronyms that the nurses and the doctors use. I'm like, this is a lot. But the pay was like, oh, yeah, 26. Like, we can make this work, we can make this work.
You tasted a little bit of it.
I was like, I'll learn what I need to learn for this, right? And the autonomy of, like, being on your own and, just all the things that TOU taught me, like time management and stuff like that, came to play with this position, because as a medical sales rep, you don't have a supervisor over you saying, do this, do that, do this. You have to look at a posting and know what you're supposed to order, show up on time, show up an hour before the case so you can prepare the room. I mean, it was the time management that I learned in school. So everything that I went through before this moment led me to, I don't believe in luck. I believe in proper preparation, and then opportunity presents and you're ready. And so that opportunity presented, and I was prepared. I was ready. And I took a leap of faith, and I started in the medical field.
Yeah. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, there's an episode where I talk about the definitions of success, which is preparation meets opportunity.
Correct.
And that's success, right?
There
Preparation, opportunity.
Yep.
But for those of you not familiar with a surgical rep's life, these surgeries are happening at 6 a.m., 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So you're out there 3, 4 a.m.
You're up
prepping.
early,
So
and you're responsible for everything that surgeon needs for that case.
Yeah.
And so you're the make or break of a surgery. That surgery can either go or get canceled. And if that surgery gets canceled, there's a lot of unhappy people from the hospital down to the patient's family. And so there's a lot that relies on you. And that's why you need somebody loyal, hardworking, and somebody who has your back. And so that was good.
So going back though to that decision, you're about to leave the comfort of a structured, government job, pay, all that, and you just say, F it. Yeah. Let's just go be a sales rep. Like, sort of, what is that thought process like, taking that jump?
To me, I'm a relationship guy.
Yeah.
And I made some solid relationships with the agency, with Child Protective Services. So I communicated to the supervisors and the program director and just told them the opportunity to present myself. And I knew that if I needed to go back to that safety blanket, I could. They would always allow me to come back to CPS to this day, because I did my best there and I left on good terms. I didn't leave anybody high and dry. I left how you should leave. And so
never burn bridges.
No, don't burn bridges, man. That's the biggest thing. You have to keep a good nose with everybody. Yeah. And your reputation is everything. And so I knew that if anything went left with being a medical sales rep, I can go back to where I'm at now. So it was a risk, but it wasn't to me.
Okay.
I feel like staying stagnant is a bigger risk than taking a leap.
Yeah. So. And so what type of surgical products?
Spine.
Spine.
So I went straight into the spine space.
Okay.
So
and you'd never seen this OR, never been an OR, the goriness, blood.
Man, the first surgery, man, this table was the back table, blue, sterile wrap over it. And I almost touched the equipment on the sterile field, and the nurse was like, hey,
"No, don't do that! Don't do that!"
Like, because I didn't know anything. Like, it was a lot.
You had merciful nurses. Because some nurses they go off.
Oh
man.
Mazzini. Yeah. I remember it to this day, man. Sweetest lady ever. She took me under her wing, and she was like, "I got you. Let me show you." And so it was fun to me, because it was a new career that I got to learn from A to Z. And so I thought it was very intriguing.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. That's awesome. And so you still are in the medical surgical field today.
So Caliber Medical Products is now a company that is just like the one that hired me 12 years ago. So now I own my own distributorship. So I have my own slew of medical products for spine, orthopedic, urology, podiatry, gynecology, stuff like that. So I hire many reps. And I trained them just like I did. So you flipped
the script.
I just flipped it,
Yeah, man. Okay, let's get into that. So you're a spine rep for how long before you start Caliber Medical?
4 years. 4 years. 3.5 years to be exact.
That's fast.
Yeah, it happened fast. Life went really fast. But what happened was I was a spine rep, and I was doing very well. And the company I worked for sold the company in year 3.5. And so in the middle of the night, I got a call. And they offered me severance pay. And they said, look, we're going to different directions. We're going to get into the laboratory space.
But you're still you're making good money at this point.
I was making great money.
Yeah.
And the scary thing, my son, Trace, that is 6.5 now, he was 4 months from being born at that time. And so to get a call in the middle of the night, and I was the breadwinner, the provider for my family, to say like, hey, you have 30 days left to work for this company, and we're getting your severance pay. There was only like 2 months of pay.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, wow. The realization of like,
again
somebody.
God's hand in it somewhere.
Yes, and I was just, in my mind, I was thinking, man, I have a son that's going to be born in 4 months. And you can work as hard as you want for a company, and that company could just call you and say, your time's up, essentially.
Yeah.
I was like, I'd never let that happen to me again, man.
Yeah.
And so I just started to think. I said, you know what? I'm the one bringing accounts to this company. I'm the one that's maintaining the relationships. I'm really building their dream, essentially. So why not do that for myself? And so that's when I started Caliber Medical Products.
That is that's a great story, man, because that's the entrepreneurs I've spoken with. The common thread is they just believe in themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the best bet is on yourself because you know what you can do.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did at 29 years old. I said, I'm gonna bet on myself and let's take a swing at this. I've already been risky my whole life.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
And like since a kid, I've been tripping since I fell out the stroller, man. So I'm like, well, why don't I just bet on myself? And now I'm mature. I have great relationships. I'm ready. I feel like God molded me and instilled all the things in me that I need to get to this point.
Yeah.
Why go back to a safety blanket? Like, let's go.
Let's
he
go.
Put me here for a reason. Let's jump.
Okay.
And let's see.
Which brings to a chicken and an egg question I always get. Chicken and egg question. And looking back, are entrepreneurs born or are they bred? Are they raised? Can you teach entrepreneurship or is this in you?
I think it got to be in you, man.
You think so?
I think it got to be in you, man. Because,
okay,
you know, there's some people that I've encountered. The reason I say this, and it's subjective.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I've encountered individuals that just don't have it. It's like speed.
Is that
Either
because
you got
they don't
fast
know
twitch
it?
muscle or you don't, man.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
I feel like you either got that grit and grind and that ability to
just say fuck
to
it,
not
let's
be
go.
robotic,
Yeah.
or you don't. And it's a beautiful thing either way you look at it. But there's some individuals that I know, and I've tried to put them in positions to be entrepreneurial, and they just don't have it. They don't want it. They
don't want to learn it.
They don't want to learn it. It's like, no, that's not my character. Because you have to be kind of crazy, you know. you got to be a little crazy, man. You know,
a lot crazy.
Yeah. So you know, everybody doesn't have that type of crazy.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
The phone is always gonna ring.
You're moving.
And your brain doesn't cut off.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sacrificing. There's many times where everybody gets paid but you. So there's some crazy to it, right? And not everybody has that. Right?
That's awesome. I love that, man. And that's the one thing. And so the statistics are what, like 8% of the population are entrepreneurs, and only 1% of those are actually successful.
Yeah, successful because, you know, everybody talks about the success of entrepreneurship. They don't like to talk about the downside of it. And so I'm a realist. I tell you the real, the black and white of it.
Oh, I've been there, man. No payroll, where's the next check?
And it's gotten hard. So, you know, you see the glamour and the glory, but there's some times that it's really
tripping.
Yeah, man. It's like, is this really for me?
Okay, so jumping into your own business, sort of what was that process? First few years, like what was that? Did it just go quick? Boom.
Overnight. I made more money than I ever made. I bought a Lamborghini when I was 30 years old.
Hey.
So my story is a little different but then again, people say, man, that's overnight success. But how, man? How?
No, that's not.
When I was in middle school, when I was in high school, I lost it all.
Yeah.
And I bounced around everywhere, and I was lost, and I was trying to find myself, and I went from this job and unhappy here when everybody else was soaring.
Yeah.
Playing on TV, getting jobs, and
buying houses, contracts, all this stuff.
And so I feel like, how do you say it's overnight success? Because now I'm showing something that's material. You didn't see the many nights of like wrestling with my sleep, trying to figure out me and you know, what is God's calling on my life.
Yeah. And
trying to figure it out and watching life pass me by while I'm looking at a paycheck like, this is it, right?
Yeah.
So it was not an overnight success. Everything that I went through from a child till 30 years old is what got me to that point. I just never gave up.
So you already had a 30-year career of hard knocks.
Man, I've been at it for almost 30 years. So it wasn't overnight. It was a struggle to get to that point, you know?
Yeah. But
I feel like
people focus on that end result and they don't see that process all the time.
1,000%.
All the time. So overnight, boom.
And they think that they can do it overnight. And I'm like, it didn't take me overnight. Like I had to go through all that I went through to get to a point to where now the fruits of my labor are paying off, right?
Yeah.
And so,
but you know, God gives it to you when He thinks you're ready.
When He thinks you're ready. Because look, the last 7 years, you know, I've changed a lot of lives. I've helped a lot of people. I've spent a lot of money to help others. I've, you know, try to influence as many people as I can, and I'm going to continue as long as God gives it to me. And I feel like He gave me things that shine and glitter, because without that, people don't pay attention.
Right.
And so I have a voice now, but it's because people see what I have, and they're like, I want to listen to you.
Okay.
You know,
I agree with that 100%.
And so I think He gives things to people that He knows will do right by it.
Yeah.
And I fear Him stripping that from me if I don't do right by it.
Or
These
abuse
gifts,
it,
these
right?
gifts aren't mine, they're His.
Yeah.
And so I'm just on borrowed time with it. So I do try to use them for the greater good. And so I'm a strong believer.
So you're making money hand over fist, 30 years old, driving. I mean, what's that experience buying that
cool,
first
man.
Lambo, man?
It's cool, but it's cool, but it was another humbling moment. You know, from a kid, I said, man, once I buy this Lambo, I'm gonna be the happiest man in the world.
I'm done.
Man, it was like 3 weeks in, it was sitting in the garage. I remember one of my homeboys came over, was like, man, can I take it? I was like, yeah, take it. And I remember they were like, really? And I started to look at it like, it's just a Lambo. It's just a car, man. Like, that's all it is,
Surprise,
right?
y'all success is like that. Yeah.
And so it got me back to what really brings fulfillment. Like what? And so I started to think about that again. I'm like, okay, I can buy a Lamborghini. Okay, I'm buying this home that's amazing, but none of this is bringing me lasting fulfillment. Yes, it's bringing me a week or two of like, yeah. And after that, it's like, all right.
That's another car.
Back to the basics. So that's what really humbled me and got me into what I do now, which is it's lasting fulfillment. It's like true joy inside, and it doesn't come in the form of like material things.
Man, you're just testifying to one of my podcasts where life is about fulfillment.
Yeah, I want that.
Not happiness.
No,
it's fulfillment.
Yeah, because you'll get happiness out of true fulfillment.
That's right. That's
true
right.
Fulfillment.
That's awesome, man. So, and it's the same experience with me, and I think it is with a lot of people at this level where it's like you'll get the rush of buying something new, but then it's just you're like, hey man, it's another car. It gets me from A to B.
1,000%, 1,000%. It's like you know, not to get too far off, but I go into juveniles and I go into prisons and I speak to individuals.
Man, I want to go with you one time.
Yeah, no, you'll love it, man. It's the Charm Ministry is the ministry, and it's really great.
We would love to do that, man.
Yeah, we go in there, play basketball with them. Like Nate can come hoop with them, play
hell
chess,
yeah.
Lift weights, and just minister to
next time
inmates,
you go,
man.
please
yeah,
let me know.
Vernon Maxwell, Nick Van Exel's son is in one of the units I go to.
Okay.
He's raw, man. Like he runs the court the entire time. Like nobody's beating his team, man. He's gonna dunk 3 points, whatever you want to do, he's gonna do.
Okay.
But like one old school inmate that's been in there 30-something years by the name of Kelvin, I keep in contact with him. We were having this conversation. He said, you know, he was in there for a rape and a murder charge. And bless his heart, he did it when he was 18. Dude's like 50-something years old now and still got, I think, 10 more years to go. But he brought things into perspective one time because there was this 19-year-old inmate in there that he just can't fight his urges, right? He like when he has an urge, man, he just can't figure out how to just fight it. Like his self-control is zero. But he was like, you know, you think like you see this girl and she's beautiful. She's a 10 out of a 10 and you want it.
Yeah.
And then you get her and right after you get her, it's like she's trash, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, that's the same thing with like chasing material things.
Yeah.
Like you get a Lambo and it's like, all right, I got it. On to the next. So you're constantly fighting these urges and these material things and chasing, but it's no fulfillment in it.
Yeah.
You go through 20, 30, 40, 50 women and it's like, that was the woman of your dreams until you got her.
Yeah.
It's because you had no connection.
Yeah.
There was no connection there. It was just something you needed for that moment. And once you got that satisfaction, it's over, right?
Over, yeah.
And so you have to chase something that is lasting. Even in a relationship, it's the love and the bond and the connection that is going to be lasting. The purpose of the love, not, you know, the sexual aspect of it because she's so beautiful. That's going to wear out or fade if you don't have the connection, right? And so
you almost got to take things to a deeper, more
enlightened
level,
it has to be
right?
deeper, man.
Yeah.
Like cars are great, and you'll fall in love with the cars when you do like what we do,
Yeah.
which use those as a vehicle to meet somebody and
Go to
take
car
the cars
meets.
deeper.
Yes.
Now let's connect and let's change lives with the vehicle. The car is just a vehicle to get us to
Exactly.
where we're trying
Cancer
to go.
drives,
So, yeah,
bully
so
drives.
now I have
saw
a
you
love
on,
for the car. When I just had the car to say, look, Instagram about the Lambo,
Yeah.
I was like, the Lambo can sit. But now that I'm a part of a culture
Yeah.
and we're using the vehicles to inspire kids and to do cancer drives
Prevent
and
bullying.
Like,
I saw you go
now,
to school. Yeah.
Yes, now
yeah.
I'm like, I love the car because
Yeah.
the car now is a vehicle to drive
It's
home
part
the
of the
message,
message.
man. And so it has to
Yeah.
be deeper.
Yeah.
It has to be. You'll never
I love that,
find
man.
fulfillment in it.
I
man.
love
Never.
that so much, bro. I love that. And seriously, man, I would love to go to these juvenile
Oh,
prisons.
you'll love
Yeah,
it. You'll
that'd
love
be
it.
awesome.
It's definitely impactful.
Yeah. Very,
really
very cool.
impactful, man.
So, Caliber Surgical,
Mhm.
Medical, that's still ongoing.
Yep, it's ongoing, and that's the bread and butter. Everything else is fun, but
Yeah.
Caliber.
So let's get into that. So one thing that I find is a lot of young entrepreneurs try to spread themselves too thin.
Mm-hmm.
Do this,
Mhm.
drop ship,
Mhm.
this, that, and the
Yeah,
other,
yeah.
coaching,
Yeah.
whatever, man. The key to it all is you got to have something that's long-standing
Got to,
that'll pay
yeah,
the bills when
yes,
things don't
yeah.
go right.
Yeah, you have to have a base.
Yes.
So that base has to be your safety. Yeah, it has to secure.
My law firm.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
And then you could be risky and play around in spaces that are not your expertise. If you're trying to be risky and you have no expertise in any of that, it's
It's
really,
going to spend a lot of money, make a lot of mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So Caliber is the base, and that is on autopilot, and that, it pays the bills.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So then you open up homemade ice cream.
Yeah,
Howdy
so
Homemade.
during COVID, man,
Yeah. Surgeries aren't happening.
yeah, surgeries aren't happening. I'm at home. I'm lifting weights. I'm just trying to pass time. And I have a cousin named Ezra Roy from 3rd Ward that has Down syndrome, and he passed away during COVID.
Oh,
But
sorry to hear that.
I grew up with him. We're the same age, and I saw a lot in Ezra. And I always scratch my head and say, man, why don't opportunities exist for individuals with special needs? When they graduate high school, where do they go? What do they have to do?
That's a
right?
good question.
They just stay at home with their parents and sit in rooms, and they get obese, and they're in
Kinda
these
waste
adult
away,
daycares.
yeah.
But it's like you just waste away. So dealing with Ezra, I was like, he can talk, he can think. He just needs a little more patience. Like you can't throw too much at him, but in the right environment and setting, he can thrive. And so I didn't have the answer. I didn't know, how to answer that problem of why are there not opportunities for Ezra. But again, God places things in the right people's laps and time at the right time. And so during COVID, I was watching TV. I was watching the news, which I rarely watch because I'm so busy. And on Good Morning America, I saw Tom Landis, the founder of Howdy in Dallas, with one of his employees that had Down syndrome. And so I stopped doing push-ups and I watched it because I was like, man, someone on Down syndrome is on TV. It reminded me of my little cousin who just passed. And Tom was talking about this ice cream concept called Howdy Homemade Ice Cream and how he started it and it was doing well, but COVID happened and he had to close his doors and he's run out of money to keep his staff on payroll. And he raised $110,000 on a GoFundMe, and he's depleted that because it's no end in sight, and every month the money's just going out, none's coming in. And he was like, so thank the community, thank everybody for what they've done, but I'm gonna have to shut this down. And at the very end of his 2-minute clip or whatever, he had his name and his number and his website. And in that moment, I said, I'm buying this, man. Like it tugged on my heart, and I said, this is the answer. This is what I can bring to Houston, and I can give individuals out here that opportunity to work. And my sister, who's a teacher, would love this. She would love to get out of that classroom and teach these individuals soft skills and how to count currency. We'll turn this thing into like a training facility for kids with special needs and then prepare them for other opportunities that may exist. And then again, I wanted to be that pillar. I wanted to be that pioneer to show the other business owners like, hey, you can hire these individuals. They are great employees. And so I called Tom, and 4 months later, I opened Howdy, man.
Man, that is such an inspiring story, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't
even try the ice cream, man. I didn't even try the ice cream.
Like
I was on the way to.
mission.
I had my checkbook. He tried to talk me out of it. I called Tom, great friend now. We're good business partners. I called him, And he was one of the founders of Texadelphia, a
Oh
Philly
yeah,
cheesecake.
love
Yeah.
Texadelphia.
So he was like, look, Rod, I've been in the restaurant industry for a long time. You don't want to get involved in this. You're an entrepreneur. You're successful. The medical field's clicking. You got nice cars. You're young. He's like, do not do this. Like, you don't know what you're getting into. The turnover's high. Customers are rude. It's hell. He was like, don't, man. Like, you got a big heart, but I'm trying to lead you. And I was like, Tom, you got to understand. People have told me no my whole life, man. You know, like I've overcome my whole life. That doesn't scare me. Challenges don't scare me. I've been through more challenges than most, and so I'm not worried about what's hard. I want to do what's right, and I feel like at the end of the day, helping these individuals is what's right. And so I'll fight the battle, the good fight of what's hard. And he was like, well, let's meet, and let's talk then. All right? I was like, let's meet. And I had my checkbook. Because money talks, right?
Let's talk. Let's really talk.
And when I pulled up, I had my checkbook, and so I said, how much you want? And we struck a deal, and I left there, and by the grace of God, he bought ice cream with him. Because my family that went with me, they were like, you gonna buy an ice cream company? You never even tried the ice cream. What if the ice cream is like horrible? And man, the ice cream was amazing. So it made the deal even sweeter. And
no pun intended, man.
Nah, man. And so I bought it April 1, and I opened my doors July 22nd of 2021.
2021.
Little
so
over 2.5 years.
Yeah. So for those of y'all, man, that story's fantastic. And I got some questions about it. But for people that want to find and taste this amazing ice cream and to support that mission of yours, where can they go to find Howdy?
Yeah, our website is howdyhomemade.com. Follow us on there. But we're on I-10 and West Green, right next to the Texas Roadhouse.
Okay.
I-10 and West Green in the Katy, Texas area.
So it's about 15 miles west of downtown Houston.
Correct. Yep.
If you're ever in the Houston area, please go visit Howdy Homemade Ice Cream, supporting a great cause, man. And follow them on Instagram at Howdy Homemade Katy.
K-A-T-Y. We have about 25 individuals now with special needs on our payroll.
Man, that's such a great story.
And they're amazing. Bro. They run the store, man. They scoop ice cream. They work the register. They clean the store. They do everything.
Good for you, brother. Good for you.
It's inspiring. For sure.
So, but in that story, there's so much there, man, because one, entrepreneurs, they're problem solvers, right? You're just like, hey, through personal experience, what an observation. You're trying to solve problems, and that makes a successful entrepreneur, right?
Where there's frustration, there's opportunity, you know?
Yeah, so which is take that home. That's a huge pearl. But the flip side is you never know when the solution's going to pop up.
You never know, man.
So how do you attract that energy or that vibe? It's like, man, I got this problem, but wow, here it is.
Yeah, just being open-minded and ready and adaptable. You know, I feel like, again, proper preparation, when you're just prepared to God knows your intentions and God knows what you're capable of. And so you just got to read the signs and see the signs. He gives all of the signs, whether they're big or small. You just have to have blinders off so you're ready when you see the sign. Because whether it's somebody you meet or whatever.
On TV, you're doing push-ups and you're like, what the?
There's signs. You just have to be in a mind space where you're ready. Yeah. You know, to see the signs and act on the sign. Yeah. And so I feel like I was just ready, man. Yeah.
And then the next question is, this guy's trying to talk you out of a deal where he's going to benefit, right? You're going to write me a check, but don't do it. But that confidence.
Never let people's fears project on you, you know, because what you were unable to do is not my situation. And how the community embraced you may not be how they embrace me. And so, again, we love to project our fears on people.
Yes.
Your experience may be different than my experience, and I know that, right? And so I don't really listen to anybody when it comes to me walking in my purpose. Yeah. If my heart says, let's go, I'm going to go, because there was always a pioneer in everything. There was somebody who said Amazon was dumb. There was somebody who told the Nike that that's a bad idea. Yeah. You know, everybody was once told that Michael Jordan was told in high school he wasn't good enough, you know? So you can't let people tell you what your purpose is and your limitations. And so that'll never work.
But then that confidence you have, so going back, was that built or is that just you?
It's 50-50. Okay. 50-50. I think I always had that walking high, talking type mentality. But through trials and tribulations, you build confidence too. You know?
Where you just bet on yourself.
When you're knocked down and you get up. That's why it's important to get up, because you build a sense of grit and grind and character in that. Yeah. So if you lay there, I don't know.
That's
you
as
know?
far as you're going to go.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, every time you get up, you're a little stronger.
Yeah.
You're a little stronger. Every time somebody calls you out of your name and you smile and walk off, it doesn't hurt the second time as much.
Yeah.
You know? So
Which
you just gotta,
allows you to say, nah, I know how you feel, but I'm going to write you this check anyways.
Exactly.
Right?
Like,
right?
I got it. And I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. And now we're 9 stores in.
Yeah.
You know? So.
You 9 stores.
9 stores, man.
Congratulations, bro. Where are the other locations now?
Denver, Colorado. We have one in Indianapolis. We have one in Asheville. We have one in North Carolina, Lubbock, El Paso, Houston, Dallas, and we're working on another one in Kansas City.
Congratulations. So is it Howdy Homemade?
And then wherever it's at,
wherever
like
it's at?
Howdy Homemade Indy, Howdy Homemade Asheville, Howdy Homemade Dallas. So
And each store also has special needs.
That's our mission. So
Man,
80%
good for
of
you,
the
brother.
staff has to
Good
have
for
special
you,
needs.
man.
Yeah, we won't sell it to anybody who wants to get away from the mission. You have to hire at least 80% of the staff to be special needs.
Man, that's man.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that gives me chills,
yeah,
bro.
yeah.
That's so I didn't know.
Yeah,
I knew you had the one location. I didn't know you had.
Yeah.
Man, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That is so amazing. And so that you're running the ice cream shop, and then recently you opened
a clinic for kids with autism.
Okay, so talk about
essential
that.
speech and ABA through Howdy Homemade. Talking with the parents and seeing the capability of kids with autism was pretty intriguing. I mean, they're some of the smartest individuals on this planet.
Yeah.
And I heard the parents talk about how it was a struggle when they were young, adolescents, finding ABA centers that actually did what they said they were going to do.
ABA means?
It's like ABA is an acronym from Action Behavioral, and I forget what the other A is, to be honest, but it's just a clinic for kids with autism.
Okay.
And these parents talked about how it was really hard to find clinics that actually did right by this population. And so I started looking into it, and this just happened over the last 7-8 months. I'm new to this field, this space. But again, where there's frustration, there's opportunity. And so I'm not an expert at this, but my heart is in the right place. And I hire experts. I hire people that do know this. And so I said,
critical lesson. You're not going to know everything.
No, and I don't try
mistakes.
to.
And
Because
that's where people make mistakes.
Yeah, I can't outdo a behavioral therapist who's been in the space 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
I'm still learning from her.
Yeah.
But that's why a lot of these employees like working for me, because I can put the money up and I can start it, and then I hire somebody that I truly trust that is going to walk the same good faith fight that I would.
Yeah.
Right? But you have the expertise.
And you get out of the way.
And
let
I'm
them
just
do
supporting you.
Yeah.
I'm going to support you. I'm going to give you the keys. I'm going to give you the autonomy as long as you do right by these kids.
Yeah.
I'll pay you higher than what these other clinics are going to pay you because I'm leaning on you to do right by this facility. And it's been amazing, man, just to learn and to see like the love that is in that clinic and to see the kids like want to come.
Yeah.
And to start to turn that corner after 3 or 4 months. It's been great.
That's fantastic. And we were there again, supercar community, using the cars as a message.
Yes.
We all show up to your grand
that's
opening,
cool, man.
and that was
cool.
During the summertime, and hot, but you got the support, right? And so that's been going. I'm so happy to hear that. It's been going
I
well.
love it. So I'm actually now trying to work on clinic 2 and 3 now.
Look at you, man.
We're full, man. So our behavioral therapist Morgan is amazing. She can only have 12 kids on her workload.
Right.
So we're going to be at 12 next month. So our clinic will be maxed in 4 months, right? And so now I'm working on a second clinic, and I'm going to do one in San Antonio.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
bro. That's awesome.
No, I love
but that
it.
goes to the point, though. It's like, okay, your cousin passed away who has special needs, opens the opportunity for Howdy Homemade because it's on your mind. You're like, let me solve this problem. You go into that, and then the opportunity for the clinic.
For the action, for ABA.
ABA opens up. So it just kind of.
It just all kind of ties. It all just
feeds,
goes.
feeds.
So I can't tell people how it all happens. It just happens, man. It's like being in the right place, right time mentally.
Yeah.
Not so much physically, and it comes, man. It just.
And so for people that are interested in finding out the ABA clinic, where can they find that?
Essential Speech and ABA Cypress.
Okay.
Is the social media.
Okay. At Essential Speech and AND ABA. Cypress, CYPRESS, where you can go find more about Rod's clinic there and his team. This facility, y'all, we were there. It's absolutely amazing. I thought it was like a spa for a minute there. I was like, am I in the right place?
No, we don't cut corners. I want these kids to feel like they're in an upscale environment, and I want everybody that works there to have that same mindset. Yeah. Because I have kids, and I want to drop my kids off at a place that I'm comfortable and I feel like it's a safe environment.
Like literally, this is a plus class, 5-star class facility, y'all. Check it out. And so you're working on Caliber Medical, Howdy Homemade, your ABA facility. What's next, man? Where does it end, man? It just keeps going.
I was asked that the other day, and I don't know the answer to that. I'm working on something, but
don't talk about it. Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. But yeah, I feel you, man.
Yeah, no, I'm working on something big, and I pray that it takes off because I think that'll be fun. But I don't know. I'm always I'm always ready for whatever life brings, But just scaling what I have now. Like I said, I'm working on more clinics for kids with autism. More franchises may get sold with Howdy Homemade. And I'm bringing on more accounts with Caliber Medical. So I'm just scaling those 3 right now. Yeah. And just bringing those to, bigger and bigger.
So this is an incredible story, man, because you're an entrepreneur serving the community or helping people. And then through that, you're making fantastic money, being successful. And besides that, you also have Katy Texas Angels.
Yes, Katy Angels. It's a nonprofit to help individuals.
Yeah, so talk about that.
Yeah, so Katy Angels is a nonprofit that me and my business partner Ariel and her husband Jake, who owns Lincoln and Jacob Construction, started. And we did that because, similar to what we're doing today, I was on a podcast with Jake, and he heard my story, and I heard his, and we share the same heart. And so he was like, let's do this together because we've been just spending out of our own pocket to just helping people.
Yeah.
And we can't get the tax write-off of it, and we're doing it in the same community, but divided. Like he's doing it, I'm doing it, so we came together.
Yeah.
And so HEB donated $10,000 to us for Thanksgiving, where we bought turkeys and handed them out to impoverished communities. We just help anybody in need. We do haircuts for less fortunate kids. We're doing a big Christmas party this Sunday, where I adopted 20 kids that are placed by CPS in a group home and throwing them a big Christmas party. So Katy Angels is essentially what the name says. We just try to be angels to individuals in Katy that are going through some type of hardship.
Yeah.
Whether it's a mom who lost her job, single moms. We try to put abused and neglected women into shelters and programs that can help them get back on their feet. Man. Just anything. We don't try to relegate ourselves to one box. Anybody who needs help, we try to offer that support.
And how does anybody listening find Katy Texas Angels?
Yeah, so KatyAngels.net is our website.
KatyAngels.net.
Yeah, and you can follow us and see all the things we've done. We've done a lot.
And do you all accept donations?
Yeah, we accept donations. We have a donation link at the bottom of that page, and so donations are definitely appreciated.
You're in giving, everybody listening, Katy Texas Angels?
Yep. So,
.net?
.net, yeah.
Okay. And you're spelling Texas out or TX?
No, it's only Katy Angels.
Katy Angels, I'm sorry. Okay.
KatyAngels.net.
Okay.
Angels with an S, not a Z.
Okay. Not like that.
Everybody gets fancy with it.
But like end of the year giving, it just seems, and I see this a lot. The bigger your heart is to open to help other people, it's just the rewards come back tremendously. You know what I'm saying?
I've been blessed abundantly, and I think it's because of that. I always keep service first. And so I'm always trying to help people, and it's weird because in the midst of helping people, things just fall in my lap, man.
Yeah.
They just fall in my lap.
That's the thing. People have this misconception about entrepreneurialism where it's like it's about me and how much money I can make. But really, it's how much I can help others that actually pays that.
I got into entrepreneurship for what you said a little bit ago, fulfillment. And I knew that if I had a lot, I can do a lot and give a lot. And so that was the ultimate fulfillment for me, is to be able to help as many people as possible. So I needed to create some revenue streams that allow me to do so. And so I think when you get into entrepreneurship, I think money just enhances the
what
true
you
character
can do.
in you.
Yeah,
and who you are.
Well, that's very true.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're a selfish person, you're just going to be more selfish. If you're a giving person, you'll be a giving person. If you're an asshole, you're going to be more of an asshole, man. And so that's all money does. It just it heightens who you truly are. That's it, And so fortunately with me, the more success I have, the more individuals around me grow too. Because as I grow, everybody around me grows.
Yeah.
So I try to.
I want to be in that circle, bro.
Yeah, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on.
No, okay. And then I want to get into this last little bit before we wrap up, because I know you're tight on time. I get a lot of questions about being married to an entrepreneur. Okay. Now I know, because of our relationship, I know your wife just opened her own spa.
Yeah.
Talk about that, and then talk about what it's like to be in a family or a relationship.
Man, she's a hell of an entrepreneur. She's very smart. very gifted, has many talents. She's a nurse practitioner, started her own home health care company, sold it to a national home health care company, then started the hottest thing in Katy right now, which is Modern Halo, which is a head spa for women and men. They do massages of the scalp, and then they do blowouts. So they blow dry the hair and then style the hair. It's an amazing
get you ready for events, ladies there. Yeah,
an amazing concept. I fall asleep every time I go in there. But very bright individual, owns many properties, real estate, Airbnbs. I mean, her portfolio is pretty impressive, and she's younger than me. So,
okay.
So we're low-key competing against each other. Like, hey, all right, but together. But it's beautiful because our kids get to see that, and they get to see examples every day of two parents to just go and get it, man. And
okay, so just let me dig into that just a tad, not to get too personal, but like entrepreneurs are generally competitive.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of time to spend with each other per se. So she's got her things going, you got yours. How do you manage the schedules? How do you manage the togetherness? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Alicia, our live-in nanny, has been the glue because she helps a lot with the kids and around the house. So when we are home, a lot of those responsibilities don't fall on our plates, so we can kind of, enjoy each other and time with the family and stuff like that. And then we always set aside time on the weekends. We try to not do anything work-related so we really can spend time with the kids and stuff. So Monday to Friday, it is very busy for us. We're always on our phone. But on the weekend, we really do have a lot of fun. We go to car meets, take the kids nice places. We always try to take nice vacations with the fam. We can kind of just detach from the grind of work.
Yeah.
So, again, there's not a one-size-fits-all, but we've kind of figured out what works for us. And so that's kind of
which I really applaud, man, because at these car shows, I mean, you're in a Lambo, but she's pulling up in the Rolls Royce with all the kids, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so you're one of the rare few people that I know that always brings their family to these car meets, and he's got two young kids or three, two young kids, which is great. Now, let's wrap up with talk to me about a day in the life of Rod. Like how does your schedule go?
Man, so 5:36, my phone starts ringing.
Yep.
I operate from my phone, so I'm not physically tied up places.
Yep,
I'm just always on the phone. And so around 5:30 it starts, and around 12:01 it kind of dies down. So I wake up, I'm on the phone till about 9. I try to go work out. After that, back on the phone, man.
Yeah.
But my life is it's hard to say a day in the life because every day is different.
Right.
I may work out today. I might meet up with some guys and go race cars.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I may be at the bar. Next day I may be at a hospital in OR.
Yeah.
Next day I may be at Howdy Ice Cream and then my essential speech at the ABA clinic, trying to figure that out and scale that. I network a lot. I'm really big on networking. I love to shake a hand, see how we can help each other. My big question is, how can I help you, right?
It's always.
So I'm not
first,
I'm not big on the whole, look, you're a doc, man, let me do this for you so I can make more money. I'm more like, how can I help you? What are you doing? And how can I help you? Because I think it reciprocates when you approach it on a level of like, how can I serve you, right? So I'm big on that, man. And so I try to meet as many people as possible, shake a hand, and make a relationship that is fruitful to the both of us. And so that's really what I do on Monday through Sunday.
And that's that's and I appreciate you sharing that. But that's an area where I think a lot of people have problems is the unpredictability.
Yes.
People want
they want that robot life.
Yeah.
And that's hard, because this life is not robotic. You gotta
live
think outside the bikes and live, man. And I think supporting people too, like just showing up for other people's events, not just your stuff. I always show up for other people, whether it's a kid's game or a family member's, like Coach Matt's coaching. Just always just being a support of people, because then when you have something, it's an outpour of support for you. So
and everybody always needs
everybody
support
needs
at
support,
some point
man.
in time.
But you have to give support to give support. You got to give respect to give respect. So
that's
you
awesome.
got to give what you want to get, man. And so
that's awesome, man. So. Man, I appreciate you sharing the story, bro.
Man,
I had high expectations, but this blew this out the door, brother.
I appreciate it, man.
Any final pearls or tidbits, people that are listening, like whether they're going through hard times, they're successful or anything, just sort of wrap this up, man. Like,
yeah, man, just stay in the fight. Stay in the fight. You're 100 for 100 with overcoming in everything you faced. You've overcame it, and you didn't know how, but it just happened. And so just keep that mentality. Just understand it always gets greater later. And stay there, and you never know what tomorrow may bring. We are all one day away from achieving where we're at in our greatness. And so, like you said at the beginning of the show, in this year strong, so you can start January 1 with a sprint. Don't push off anything for tomorrow that you could do today. Don't push anything off. I'm not a big believer in saying, well, I'm going to wait until January 1 to start working out. No, work out right now.
Yeah.
Get it in right
love
now,
it,
you
man.
know.
I love it.
And if you have that mentality, you'll be surprised. You put those goals so high that even if you don't achieve it, you're going to get further than if you had no goal.
Yeah.
And so go for it today. Don't put it off for tomorrow. Go for it right now.
Man, I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Rod, thank you so much for coming. And where do people find you, man, to follow your cars and all that
Yeah,
stuff?
Vortex_surgical.
Vortex_surgical.
You fun stuff. Good
Ah!
rat activities.
Hey. And if you're ever in the area, man,
Yeah.
he's been letting his friends drive his Aventador.
Yeah,
So if you want to pop into the STO.
Man, hey,
take
y'all
a
want to
look.
jump in and see what it got until I turbo it. When I turbo it, man, I can't do it.
This liability issue.
Yeah, it's liability, man.
But Vortex Surgical, man, Rod, such a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah.
I can't wish you the greatest success not because you're just a great guy and your family, I know I love them, but just your mission, man, your cause to help everybody out there, dude. That's just,
Thank you.
it's so enlightening and uplifting and light. I feel light because I know people in this world like you exist to help the community, man. We always send our guests off with a gift, man. So
I'm special now, man.
I don't know if you're a cap.
I'm a cap guy now.
Okay.
I'm putting it on.
Hey. But man, much success, dude. Happy holidays,
you.
brother.
You're always what I got on too, man.
Hey,
Wait
you
a
better
minute.
front that today, man. Shoot.
Yeah.
You're always welcome back, man. I wish you the greatest success when Howdy Homemade goes to 100 stores.
Yeah.
Come back, tell us what that journey is like.
Yeah.
Same thing with your clinic and whatever you're working on, man.
Yeah.
That big thing that's
Yeah,
gonna
let's
pop.
talk about
don't
that
tell me-
next year, man. Yeah.
Let me in on it, man.
No, let's talk about that,
messing
man. Let's
on
talk about it.
But man, thank you so much,
Yeah,
brother.
for sure.
Roderick, what an awesome show,
Yeah,
man.
thanks,
Great
man. Thanks
show
for
for
having
the
me.
holiday season.
Great show, man.
Especially the idea of giving, the holiday season, time to give. Your life is about giving. I love it, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for
Appreciate
having
that.
me, man.
Roderick with Howdy Homemade, Essential Speech, ABA, KatieAngels.net. Phenomenal character, phenomenal guy. This only represents the quality of the type of people we bring on the show. I want to thank you all for listening. If you find value in the show, which I know you did, in the darkness is where the brightest real stars shine, man. Please do share the show. Follow Roderick, all of his socials. I want to end my show as I end my day. Before I put my head down to rest, I always thank God and the universe for another day to have been great and made an impact. So I want to thank you for listening, for following, liking, sharing, and commenting. Be great today, but be even more grateful. By the time this airs, happy holidays for you all celebrating. Be safe during the holiday season. And let's get sprinting right now. Let's get sprinting right now. Thank you for listening. Looking forward to bringing another episode very, very soon.
Thank you.
What's up,